Welcome to the Real World. My name is Cameron, joined by Carson.
That's right.
We are here on the Real World Podcast, episode 115. We're talking all about Joker, Folie à Deux, and the best Batman movie villains. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Real World Podcast. Make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified of all our videos. We're huge movie fanatics here.
That's right.
So we're happy to have you if you are a movie fan.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about Joker 2.
Yeah.
Folie à Deux.
Right. That's right. Yeah, we're going to give you our review of that film, spoiler-free. Then we'll do a spoiler review. Then we're going to get into our favorite Batman movie villains of all time.
Yes.
That's
we'll be doing a draft pick, as we've kind of done recently, which I think is really cool.
It's going to be a lot of fun. But let's kick things off with the Joker spoiler-free review. All right, so Joker Folie à Deux is now in theaters.
That's right. We just got out of seeing it. I saw this a couple nights ago.
Right.
But you have just got out of seeing it. I'm really curious to see your initial reaction.
Okay.
I know we have our reaction video out already.
Sure.
Both of us individually released videos this time.
That's right.
So, generally, just like, what did you think of Joker Folie à Deux?
Well, when we first heard that we were getting this movie, I was a little surprised because the first one is just kind of its own standalone thing. And so, but it made $1 billion. So obviously the studio is going to want more.
Mm-hmm.
And so bringing Todd Phillips back, bringing Joaquin Phoenix back, bringing in Lady Gaga, all of that was very intriguing to me.
Definitely.
And then the trailer, the musical element of this is going to be a musical. And we're like, what? This is an odd choice. But
for sure.
So going in, I didn't really have much expectation. I had heard a little bit of buzz, like a lot of negative reaction, very divisive.
I had a very similar reaction before seeing it.
Yeah.
Where I thought that the idea of a sequel to Joker was a bad idea.
Right.
Just because it's like, okay, Lady Gaga's in now. She's going to be Harley Quinn.
Right.
So it's like, okay, they're just going to do more Joker.
They're going to do Mad Love.
They're just going to do more Joker, and it's just going to be more chaotic and more insane.
Yeah.
And just going to be indulgent.
Yeah. I thought the Mad Love storyline was what they were going to go with.
It's going to be indulgent in the third act of the first Joker movie, which is the city's in chaos and everything's on fire and he's dancing around going crazy.
Right.
That's going to be the whole movie.
Yeah.
And if that's the movie, I'm not interested.
Me neither.
And I was expecting it to be that because the first one made $1 billion.
Sure. They want to play it safe.
Just just give us more of the same.
Right.
But as I think the viewers will soon see, it's not more of the same.
No, this is totally different from the first movie. And so coming out of it, I'm ecstatic. I think this is fantastic. I think this is exactly what they needed to do.
I agree.
To make it work. It's so bizarre. It's so just off the beaten path, doing its own thing. I've never seen a musical like this. I've never seen a comic book movie like this. I've never seen really any movie like this in general. It's totally its own thing. It's so well made, technically.
Yeah.
We can talk about that because we're not getting into spoilers yet.
Right, and just like kind of general, like what the movie's about.
Yeah.
It's part courtroom drama.
Right.
It's part like psychological asylum movie.
Yeah, sure.
And
part musical.
And part musical. So that's kind of like the three kind of tones that it's trying to strike.
Yeah.
And they're very different tones.
One is very depressing and dark and dreary.
Yep.
The other one is very light and fun and silly.
And the courtroom is where all that stuff kind of comes together in a really interesting way.
Yeah.
So just generally, it's a little over 2 hours, but it doesn't feel it.
It does not feel its runtime. It's 2:20. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes. It's pretty long.
It has a really interesting way of kind of breaking itself into chunks.
Yes.
Where we'll kind of fade to black. It'll fade to black and fade back in, and it'll be a new scene.
Yep.
Good definitive starts and stops throughout the movie.
I agree.
Kind of let you catch your breath.
Yeah, the tonal balance here is what's most amazing to me.
Definitely.
Is that they're able to strike this balance between moments where you are laughing. I mean, it's dark comedy, right?
Yeah.
But you are laughing. And then other moments where you're just like, ugh, kind of on the edge of your seat going, whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah, and really sad. And
just moments that are just sad.
Miserable.
They're just depressing. Yeah.
It's very, very sad.
True. You're really in the mind of Arthur Fleck, which is what I liked about the first one. I thought the first one did that pretty well, but here it's taken to another level. And the filmmaking skill involved here is really, really just, again, on another level.
It uses the bass line of the first Joker movie
Yep.
and builds on top of it.
Big time.
It doesn't reinforce it. It doesn't
Builds a mountain.
constantly try and repeat it. It builds on top of it and goes deeper into the character of Arthur Fleck.
For sure.
Which
For sure.
I didn't think I cared about Arthur Fleck until watching this.
Yeah. And getting into a little bit more of the world of Gotham around him a little bit.
Sure.
You know, more new characters are introduced.
Some comic characters are referenced.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely. Yep.
But it's not a movie about that. It's not a movie about the references. It's not about the world.
Yeah.
It's not about world building.
Correct.
We're not, I mean...
They're using the DC world to tell this very specific story about this character.
Right. And that's what I was worried about going into it, because the last one ends with Batman's origin. It ends with Thomas and Martha Wayne going in the alley and then getting shot, young Bruce. And I'm like, here we go. This movie is just gonna be Joker versus Batman, and Harley Quinn's here, and but it wasn't. It wasn't that. It was something a lot different, and I think far more interesting than that.
I agree completely.
So I recommend it. I give this movie, honestly, 4.5 stars.
Wow.
I mean, I
one of your favorites of the year, then.
Well, definitely one of my favorites of the year.
Okay. Excellent. I mean, it's probably going to end up in my top 10. I think I have it at 4 stars right now. Maybe on a second viewing, I'll be at 4.5 with you. I don't know, but it's a really solid, well-made film. But it's not made for everyone, obviously. I mean, the Rotten Tomatoes score, the audience score even, is very low for this. So it's a very divisive film. Like I said, very dark film. You know, a lot of people don't like that kind of tone. This one, for what it's going for, totally works for me. Totally works for me. It's not the kind of movie I'm going to revisit a lot.
Right.
But it works very well as a story. It's very memorable. And what they're trying to accomplish, they totally pull it off.
Definitely. Moving slightly into spoilers.
Yeah, so that's our spoiler-free review.
Right.
Now, if you've seen the movie and you want to hear us discuss the plot details, the ending, everyone's talking about the ending.
I don't know why.
Did the ending ruin the movie?
The ending is not...
Is it referencing The Dark Knight? You know, I mean, there's all these kind of things out there. So that's what we're going to talk about right now. So here's your spoiler alert.
So just to generally get into the criticisms that have been raised up against this movie.
There's a lot.
That I was hearing before I went to go see it.
Right.
The ending, for some reason, was a huge...
So Arthur Fleck dies.
And
I think this is a thing that...
He's killed by another inmate.
Correct.
Who pets his face and gives himself the smile.
Right.
Which is like a classic...
Which you see in the background, blurry.
Sure. So that's like the classic Joker origin.
Sure.
Is he like...
Well, it's
hiding his scars, you know?
Joker origin. It's the Dark Knight Joker origin.
It's classic. It's classic now.
Right.
It's classic post Dark Knight.
Sure.
Dark Knight came out a decade ago.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. Good point.
2 decades almost.
But that to me, I had no problem with it. I thought it totally worked for the story. They closed the story on Arthur Fleck.
Yeah,
there's no reason to make a third one.
That's what it's about. It's all about
Were people expecting a Joker trilogy, maybe? Is that what's going on here? They're like,
I think the same people who expected this to be more of the same from Joker are the people who love the Venom movies. It's those people who are just looking for that just dark, edgy humor to just carry them through the whole thing.
Yeah.
This is not that.
Yeah, sure.
So, just more criticisms I've heard is it is trying to say that the first Joker movie is bad and attack the first movie.
Right.
Kind of in the same way people were talking about Last Jedi and Force Awakens.
Right.
Where Last Jedi, retroactively undid what Force Awakens was trying to do. Which it didn't really. Yeah. It's
continuing the story in a unique way.
Yes, it's a deconstructive story.
Right. Sure.
By nature.
Right. Exactly.
It's not necessarily
criticizing
the first movie.
Yeah.
It is trying to recontextualize the first film.
Exactly.
This is also why people hate the Matrix sequels.
Yeah.
Because every Matrix sequel recontextualizes the last one.
Exactly.
So you have to rethink what was that really about?
Right.
What really happened in that movie?
Yes.
It's not saying it's bad. Sure. It's not saying people who liked it are bad.
Yep.
It's
taking it to another level.
Yeah, it's a story
about a different
perspective on it. Really. Right. It's a story about Arthur Fleck.
Yeah.
And Arthur Fleck and Joker are very different characters.
Correct.
And that's an important distinction.
Yeah, I agree.
We got to talk about real quick some of the stellar performances in this movie.
Joaquin Phoenix, to me, give him the Oscar now. I mean, he's on another level. Really in both these movies, but here especially because, I think more because of the musical element and all the different things he's having to play with. He's phenomenal. He is absolutely excellent. He's one of our best actors working today. This is further proof of that.
Yeah.
Lady Gaga, of course, we got to talk about her because bringing Harley Quinn to life in a unique way. Mm-hmm. You know, she's very much the Harley we know.
Yeah.
But there's just a couple of little twists on her, you know, that they give. They give her. She is a psychologist.
Sure, sure.
But she checks herself into the Arkham Asylum.
Yeah. What I really love about their relationship here is it's the inverse of what we usually see with Harley and Joker.
That's true.
Usually,
she's manipulating him.
Harley is the victim, and she has been, tormented by Joker this whole time, and
he kind of tricks her. It
becomes a story of like her liberation.
Yeah.
Her independence. It's kind of like her ultimate.
He tricks her into becoming his kind of henchwoman.
Right.
In most iterations.
This is the opposite.
She's tricking him.
She is constantly manipulating him into becoming Joker again.
Right. And she wants revolution. She wants the city to be taken over.
She's in love with Joker.
Right. Correct. Yeah. Absolutely.
And no one cares about Arthur Fleck. That's the ultimate the ultimate resolution is no one really cares about Arthur Fleck.
Correct.
And it's really, really upsetting and a sad ending.
It is.
But I got to shout out Brendan Gleeson.
He's always fantastic. Everything he does is great.
This might be my favorite role of his.
It's a fantastic role.
I mean, as much as I love Benches of Inisherin, he's terrific in that.
Of course.
This was just beginning to end. He's in the first opening moments.
Yeah.
And his motif of the Saints Come Marching In song really deepens his character in a way that makes him such a interesting, oppressive force.
Right. Yeah, he's very much an antagonist.
Definitely.
Arthur here, which is great.
Yeah. He's all about control and power.
Yes, exactly.
And living in a asylum of misery where there's constant insanity around you.
Exactly.
Being that force of rock hard aggression and control
the authority
is his whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's using Arthur like a plaything.
Sure.
He's tell us a joke, Arthur.
Yeah,
I'll give you a cigarette.
Right. Yeah.
It's a terrific performance, really. He's a very mean person.
Yeah.
But it's because
when he starts off, he's kind of likable.
Sure.
Well, that's what I liked about him. Is that you kind of like him. You're like, he's helping Arthur. He kind of likes, or you think he likes him.
But he doesn't think of Arthur as a person.
Correct. Yeah, that's what you learn later.
Yeah.
That's what you learn later. Yeah.
There's no. These people are not human.
Correct. Yeah, they're animals.
Basically. They're basically animals. He teaches them tricks.
Yeah.
And they entertain him.
Yes, exactly.
So
we also got to shout out Catherine Keener,
of course,
as a psychologist.
Yep.
She's always fantastic as well.
Loved her in Incredibles 2.
Of course.
As Screenslaver.
That's right. Get Out, is one of my favorites she's ever done.
Yeah.
So she's excellent here.
Yeah, she seems to be the most empathetic toward Arthur.
Yes, 100%.
In the whole movie.
Yeah.
Which is
his only
cool.
friend, really.
I would argue Puddles is his friend.
Yeah, that's true.
What a
great actor he is.
That has to be my favorite scene in the movie.
Yeah.
Is the Puddles sequence.
Fantastic. Great moment. So, great performances overall. As I mentioned, the technical aspects, cinematography and lighting are phenomenal. The sets look great. It really has, the musical numbers. The music is really good. A lot of them are famous kind of pop songs, Sinatra tunes, a lot of that kind of big band music. But it's all really well presented. And so I really liked all the musical stuff, all the dance choreography.
And
the
really sets good. And
the costumes. Yeah. It was really good. It was really well done.
Very cool.
So it's just a great movie to look at. Visual storytelling here is top notch. It's primary, and as it should be. But the performances are great. The music is great. The editing, every element of the film just really comes together to tell this singular story.
Totally.
Like you mentioned in the non-spoilers section, the references are great because they're not over hitting you over the head with stuff.
Right.
They're subtle. Mm-hmm. They're handled very, very well. I think all of them. Yeah,
and it's only when absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
Like when we have a district attorney in canon.
Sure. Right.
We're going to use Harvey Dent.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
He's just going to be there. It's not like, oh, we're going to have a scene with just Harvey and he's going to be talking about how he's Two-Face, No. He's just the district attorney.
Right.
His name's Harvey Dent.
And half
of his face gets blown up in the big explosion, which is it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
But it's not about that. We're not focusing on that. Exactly. That's not really important.
Yes, exactly.
So yeah, terrific. The only thing I have to mention is that opening with a Warner Brothers cartoon, Rubber Hose.
Love that.
Classic. It's phenomenal.
Oh man,
it immediately hooked
great.
me.
Totally, me too. I was so surprised by that, and it just drew me right in.
And I was waiting for it to abruptly stop and turn into some kind of joke.
Yeah, but no.
I think the MCU has kind of trained me to think that way.
Right.
That if I like something for a minute, it's going to turn into a joke and cut itself off.
Right.
But no, this is a played for straight, total cartoon that plays before the movie.
Yep. It plays into the movie too. It's not just a random Bugs Bunny cartoon.
It is thematically important. It's Joker and his shadow.
Correct.
And it's really about Arthur.
It's kind of a retelling of the first film in some ways.
Sure.
You can look at it as that.
Yeah, it's kind of about the Murray
from a unique perspective.
Yeah. It's terrific though. I loved it, and it immediately hooked me. It set a great tone, I think, for the rest of the movie. And in retrospect, watching it a second time, it really sums up the story very well.
It does very well. And I like the whole vibe of the movie with the opening with a cartoon and ending with those end credits that are just flashing and that scrolling. Yeah. It's very old school. It's very classic film, which I like a lot.
60s, 70s
vibe,
yeah,
for sure. But I mean, the cartoon, that goes back to like the 30s and 40s.
Sure,
so
yeah.
It's unique, And I like anything unique like that. And Todd Phillips is obviously a guy with a lot of, cinematic knowledge.
Yeah, there's a big love letter.
Movies,
there's a big love letter to classic Hollywood,
100%
in general,
100%.
All over this movie.
I agree.
Which I think is also kind of thematically relevant because it's like Hollywood and acting and like performance is whole.
Lot of social commentary here. A lot of things going on here that are deep under the surface that.
This movie I think
all day,
especially compared to the first one, has a lot more nuance. It is a lot more subtle, and I think what it's trying to say.
Yeah.
That first movie just literally hits you over the head with its message because there's a sign that said everything must go,
right,
and it's smashed on top of Arthur's head, and so it's literally hitting you over the head with the message.
Sure.
But I don't think the first one's a bad movie.
No,
I think it's played very straight. I think it's very.
It's all intentional.
Simple.
And this one, much the same way. It's all intentional, but it does take a very different approach. And so
far more interesting, I think.
I agree. It's going to be great to do a double feature with these.
It is great.
Get them on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
So let us know what you think. We want to know. Again, this is very divisive, this movie. It's getting a lot of mixed reactions. So let us know. Are you on our side? Do you think this is actually a really well-made movie? With something to say that's important and relevant and interesting? Or do you think it's spitting in the face of comic book fans and fans of the first movie or something like that?
Really, I want to know why people think that. I don't get it.
Give us your explanation. We want to have a conversation with you about these movies, not just, say, you're wrong and leave. We actually want to talk to you about it and figure out what your thinking is, because
I want to know why it's bad.
Yeah. Tell us why you think it's not a good movie, because I think it's very well made and really enjoyed watching it. So do that. Now we are going to jump into our main topic, which is the best Batman movie villains. Here we go. Okay, folks, this is in our top 5 Batman movie villains. We're not counting animated series. We're not counting the comics. It's just right. This is only appeared in a theatrical released film.
That's right. This is only the Batman movies we're talking about here. And another rule that we've added recently is if I pick a character like Joker or like Penguin or Riddler, it excludes every other version of that character from the other movies.
Correct.
So he can't say
talking about the characters, not the actors.
You can say Bane,
correct,
and pick Tom Hardy's Bane,
right? But you can't pick Bane from Batman and Robin.
That's right. Sadly, I can't.
That would be so tragic.
So that's kind of
Batman from Robin's Bane does not show up on this list. People might riot.
It is the most comic accurate Bane we've ever had.
Okay, so you're the Bat fan. We're gonna let you go first.
Okay.
Who is your number 1 Batman villain in movies that we've had thus far?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Number 1, it's got to be Joker. Okay. He's the quintessential Batman villain. Course. Everybody knows it. Yes. Okay, I got to take him before you're going to snag him. Because you're not going to probably pick my favorite Joker.
Oh, really?
My favorite Joker is from Mask of the Phantasm.
That was my favorite.
That was your favorite too?
Yeah, I was gonna pick him. Yeah.
I know a lot of people love Dark Knight. A lot of people love
Heath Ledger's great.
Heath Ledger's Joker.
It's a great performance.
It's a terrific performance, but it's Mark Hamill. It's Mark Hamill for Mask of the Phantasm.
Mark Hamill.
This is the quintessential theatrical, operatic, creepy clown.
Yeah.
Prince of Crime.
Yeah.
That we love.
Absolutely.
If you haven't seen Mask of the Phantasm, please do. It's
best Batman movie
far and away
ever made.
The best The Dark Knight has ever been on screen.
Yep.
And Joker, especially Mark Hamill's portrayal of Joker, really sums up what really works for me with that character.
Sure.
He is the most theatrical, self-indulgent, scary, but funny,
unhinged,
genuinely funny.
Oh yeah, he's very
villain.
Yeah,
and perfect rival to Batman.
He's the chaos to Batman's order.
Sure.
Yeah. They're perfect yin and yang.
That's right.
It's the opposites.
Definitely.
Yeah, and the voice performance is second to none.
Yeah.
So you can't even tell it's Mark Hamill. I mean,
I know.
You told someone this is
Skywalker.
Luke Skywalker, they go, "What?
Who'd have thunk it?"
Doesn't make any sense.
So there it is. That's my number one. Let's go ahead.
Great choice.
Pick your number one.
I'm going with another animated movie.
Oh my goodness.
Starring the best Batman, Kevin Conroy.
Okay.
It's Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero.
Ooh.
Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze is my favorite Batman villain.
Good pick.
I just rewatched this movie yesterday.
Okay.
He's such a sympathetic character. He's really the hero of his own story. And I like villains like that. I like villains that they're not just out to rob the bank and cause chaos.
Unless you're Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Of course. Right, exactly. Not picking that version.
Right.
This version of the character, he's on a very personal mission to save his wife.
Yeah.
I mean, his wife is dying.
To save his wife from the corporate machine run by Bruce Wayne.
That's right. Well, yeah, if you're talking about the episode.
Sure.
Heart of Ice.
Yeah, that's Heart of Ice.
I'm talking about Sub-Zero.
Sub-Zero, of course.
Which builds on that, of course.
Right.
That's kind of the origin of this Mr. Freeze. But this tells the story of him he's living in solitude, first of all.
Yeah.
And he's trying to get an organ transplant for his wife. And who's the only one who's got the same type of blood? Batgirl.
That's right.
And so he goes after Barbara Gordon. So Batman and Robin have to chase after Barbara Gordon. There's this epic battle on this oil rig at the end. It's just a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
Not enough people have seen it. It's so well made. I mean, it's not as good as Mask of the Phantasm, but it's right there for me.
Sure.
I mean, for me, it's a great follow-up to that film.
It's high praise. It's a great pick, Mr. Freeze.
He's such
you gotta love him.
Again, you like the character. You almost want to see him succeed.
Absolutely.
But he just goes about doing it the wrong way.
Yeah, definitely.
And he takes it too far.
I just want to give a brief shout out
He's got a cool look.
He does.
Dome helmet with the red eyes.
It's very Art Deco.
Yeah, it's great.
I got to give a quick shout out to one of my favorite versions of Mr. Freeze, besides the animated series, which is probably his apex.
Yeah.
But it is his portrayal in Batman Arkham City.
Oh,
that video game.
Okay.
He is terrific in that game.
Okay.
And kind of becomes an ally to Batman.
Wow.
So it's a really cool take on the character that I loved.
Great. Let's go to your number 2.
Ooh, this is a tough one. Honestly. Picking a 2. Because at this point, I have to really strategize and think about what I really want to pick.
Right.
It's tough.
There's a lot of great movie Batman villains because we're including the animated films as well.
Yeah.
As we just both evidenced because we both had animated picks first.
Right. For my number 2,
what do you got?
I'm going to go with the Penguin from Batman Returns.
Oh, really?
Danny DeVito's Penguin.
I'm a little surprised.
I know.
The Batman, Colin Farrell.
I know. I love Colin Farrell's Penguin. I've yet to finish the series. I really want to watch his show.
Sure.
He just doesn't have quite enough, I think, there in the Batman for him to warrant this spot.
Sure.
But Danny DeVito's Penguin and Batman Returns.
What a great antagonist.
It is the most memorable Batman.
Oh, 100%.
Batman movie villain, maybe ever.
100% agree.
It is just terrific. It's horrific.
Yes.
And it's funny.
Disgusting.
It's scary. It's silly.
Yeah.
But there's a real heart.
Oh, sure.
To Oz Cobblepot.
In
that movie.
Absolutely.
That really.
I am an animal.
Yeah, it tells you something about Bruce Wayne as well.
Oh yeah. He's the orphan who was abandoned.
Mm-hmm. People overlook.
He didn't have an Alfred.
The subtleties of
his Alfred was Penguin.
Yeah, exactly.
In the sewer.
Yeah. His Batcave is an abandoned amusement park, an abandoned zoo.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrific.
Yeah,
This performance again, it's very memorable.
it is.
It's iconic. Kind of defined the character
It,
from that point on for a little while.
the makeup,
Yeah,
the whole look. I
it's
mean, it's
very
just
Tim Burton.
yeah,
It's maybe
absolutely.
it's one of the most Tim Burton-y characters.
He Burtonized a comic book character, which
Yeah,
is what a director should do, I think.
sure.
Um, yeah, great pick. What a memorable performance.
Absolutely.
Absolutely
That's my
wonderful.
number two pick. What's your number two?
My number two, it's another animated movie.
Oh boy.
It's Batman Under the Red Hood.
Good pick.
Red
I was
Hood.
gonna take it, but you got it.
Red Hood
Yes.
is such a great character. Wow. What a movie, first of all, based
Mhm.
on the comic of the same name.
Yeah.
Did a great job adapting it. Jensen Ackles voices Red Hood. And
Yeah, this is one of my
there's
favorite of those the Blu-ray
oh yeah,
animated
direct-to-video
yeah,
animated
direct-to-video
DC
animated
films.
DC movies.
Man,
This is
it's
one that
so
stands out
good.
as incredible.
Yes, because the whole backstory with him and Robin, the opening scene with Joker and
Yeah.
Robin is great. And then yeah, the reveal is
Mhm.
just such a big moment.
Yeah.
And
It's
and
a great
the whole argument they have of
for sure.
why is Joker still alive?
Yeah.
Why are you allowing them to do that?
Mhm.
Why are you allowing these criminals to,
Yeah.
run free? And
That terrific Batman line. If I allow myself to
yes.
go into that place,
Mhm.
I know I'll never come back.
Right.
So it's terrific.
It's so good. Jensen Ackles does such a great job playing that character and bringing there's so much pain
Yeah,
in him.
Yeah.
You can just feel it.
definitely.
And the conflict there and the action sequences are great in that movie, but it's such a great character. Red Hood, of course, the original mantle worn by the Joker.
Yep.
That he takes on, which
Mhm.
I thought was
Mhm.
so fitting
Yeah.
and interesting and great character design and everything. So
Sure.
Red Hood had to make it in there. So
That's
he
a,
made
that's
it
a
to my number
terrific
two.
pick. That's really good as a number two.
All right, what do you got next? Number three. We're on to number three already. Only three
already.
more picks.
That's right.
Because we're doing top five.
That's
each.
right. Yes, yes. For my number three, I'm gonna have to go with Catwoman from the Batman.
Okay. Interesting choice. See, I didn't really consider her a villain.
Really?
I don't think she's a villain. In my opinion, the first scene they have together, they fight, and the rest of the movie they team up.
Sure. I understand that.
But she does
the character
she does
historically,
have her own mission
sure.
that is not Batman's mission.
The character historically is a villain.
Correct.
She does antagonize Bruce Wayne and Batman.
Yeah.
And as she does kind of help him, she also kind of messes with his plans.
Okay. I would have easily picked Michelle Pfeiffer, Batman Returns Catwoman.
Really?
Because she, to me, is totally an antagonist throughout the whole movie.
That's true. She is definitely more of a villain.
Right.
I think she's a less interesting character though.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Give us your takes.
in the Batman, Catwoman is just terrific. She has such a great history and motive and
Yeah.
a terrific lesson to teach Batman.
Right.
That's really ultimately why I picked this, because
Mhm.
every great Batman villain is teaching Batman something.
Yes. Yes.
They're teaching him something about himself and about his responsibility as Batman and what it means to be Batman and what
Right.
Batman represents.
Yep.
They're all parts of his psyche.
Yep.
There's a part of Bruce that wants to leave with Catwoman at the end
Sure.
and go off
Oh, yeah.
and live his life that way. But
Right.
aside from Dark Knight Rises, that never happens. He never leaves and
It's
joins
true.
Catwoman. He can't.
It's true.
It's his responsibility to be Batman.
Right.
Sadly, that was ruined in Dark Knight Returns.
Rises.
Sorry, Nolan, you wrecked it.
Hey, he did something different. Didn't
But-
work for everyone.
Yeah, didn't work at all. But Catwoman and the Batman, yeah, it's just so good. Is it Zoe Kravitz?
Zoe Kravitz.
She is just
fantastic actress.
Awesome. She's
Yeah.
just awesome. She embodies a lot of what works for that character in the Batman Year One comic.
Oh,
There's a lot of influence
yeah,
there.
Absolutely.
I just listened to a great commentary Matt Reeves did talking about his influences on
Okay.
what inspired his version of the Batman.
Sure.
And there's a lot of Year One.
Yeah.
A lot of Year One. Zoe was she wanted the short hair from the comic.
Really?
It's like, oh, that'd be cool. We could kind
Yeah.
of like we could do wigs and that would be kind of cool. So
Sure.
yeah, it's terrific. Her character,
Yeah.
there's a lot of thought that went into every action she takes in that movie.
Sure.
And it's terrific. She has a great physical presence
Yep.
and she's just a terrific actress. So
Yep.
definitely that's my number 3 pick.
Excellent choice. Man, my number 3, this is really tough.
I
I'm
know.
going back and forth between a few because
Yeah.
there's so many great ones. I'm going to go to The Dark Knight.
Okay, it's a Dark Knight villain.
It's gonna be Two-Face.
Two-Face! Yep. Good pick.
Aaron Eckhart, easily my favorite part of that film.
I strongly agree.
He's such a great actor, bringing Harvey Dent to life and making him such an altruistic hero.
Mm-hmm.
The hero that Bruce Wayne has waited for. I mean, Bruce Wayne's going, I can hang up the mantle now because this guy's going to, clean up the city.
Totally.
And so seeing them team up, of course, all their scenes with Gordon are great. The scenes with the three of them, right out of the Long Halloween comic books.
Very, very similar.
All really well done. And his turn, to me, totally works. A lot of people feel like it's too abrupt. I don't feel that way at all. I feel like there's hints throughout.
I think they don't get that from the get-go.
Yeah.
He is not really the altruistic, all-good character.
Correct. Yes. He puts on an air
He thinks he is.
Yeah.
And thinking of yourself as being that is the beginning of the downfall.
Exactly. That's totally correct. And all the adulation he's receiving from Bruce Wayne and from everyone else, definitely contributes to that. And, he's using deception with the coin. This coin has heads on both sides, And so all of that works really well. Of course, when he's scarred, just the look of it looks great.
Yeah.
I think it really looks really cool. And the scene at the end with him and Gordon and Batman is just so impactful, so intense. Mm-hmm. And honestly, it works so well.
Yeah, I think Two-Face is a great pick. Surprised you didn't go with Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, I know. It was close.
He has a far more comic accurate costume. Therefore, it's better.
That is true. That is true. But no, The Dark Knight, they handle that character so well.
Yes.
I think it's the character arc that works the best.
I agree.
Intense, it's subtle.
Among all my criticisms of Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy, that is not one of them.
Yes.
That is something that stands, I think, as the best part of all three of those movies.
And ever since I first saw it, I mean, I remember coming out of that movie, being wowed by Ledger. Me too, of course. Yeah. But that was the character that stood out to me the most, was Two-Face. And still does to this day.
Still underappreciated.
Very underappreciated. I think, he just nailed it. They nailed the writing, the performance, everything they did with that. Bringing his character to a resolution, the only resolution it could have come to, I feel like. And it works to tell that story and to tell that story of Bruce and what he has to do moving forward with the city and his city. And of course, the split personality thing is Bruce, is he Batman?
Definitely.
That whole thing, it all plays into that. So
another lesson learned for Batman.
Yes, absolutely.
So a terrific pick for sure. I'm going to have to go with my number 4.
Number 4.
As the Riddler. Jim Carrey's Riddler from Batman Forever, baby. No, I'm kidding. As much as I actually really like that role, I am going to have to go with the Riddler from the Batman.
Of course.
It's phenomenal. Wow. It's phenomenal.
Paul Dano's take. He
actually wrote a comic.
That's right. Have you read the comic?
I have not read it yet. I'm excited to.
You gotta pick it up.
This is another great kind of alternate life for Bruce Wayne. He's an orphan.
Right.
He was trusted. He trusted the big money. The big rich people with all the money who said they were going to change everything and make everything great. Mm-hmm. And when they died, just like Bruce, they kind of became halted in this constant state of kind of childhood trauma.
Right.
And it became this twisted, complicated force that Batman inspired.
Yeah.
Batman being a force of vengeance, inspiring the Riddler to then kind of be the mind behind Batman's physicality. Is a really interesting take on the character.
It is.
And it makes the whole story of the Batman so interesting to watch.
I agree.
Their scene in Arkham is phenomenal.
Talking about the masks and all that. I agree.
When you fully think he understands Bruce Wayne as Batman.
Right.
But in the Riddler's mind, it could never be that.
No.
Because they're working together.
Correct.
To stop people like Bruce.
Yes.
To stop, the rich and powerful.
Right.
So, it's terrific. It
is.
This take on Riddler, I think, is very unique. And a lot of people just compare it to like, he's just being generic serial killer man. But no. He's saying so much about Batman, about this version of Batman.
Yes.
That he can't be a force of vengeance anymore.
Right.
Because this is what that leads to.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So,
That's great. I love how he utilizes social media.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
His
yeah,
costume
the
being made out of
just
literally army surplus
right.
materials.
Yeah, yeah.
Cling wrap,
Yep.
glasses, and a literal army winter mask.
Yeah.
And like a coat
And
is all he's wearing.
And there's tons of them at the end of the movie.
Yeah, terrible costume, but a great character.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
And that's what retroactively makes the costume great.
Yes.
Because it's in character.
100%.
You see people, just because you give Wolverine a yellow suit doesn't mean it's a great character.
Correct. Yep, exactly. Excellent choice. Man, he definitely was one of the best. All right. I've got my number 4 again.
Yes, you're number 4.
My number 4 pick is going to be a character that I really like from one of the animated films we've already mentioned. It's the Phantasm from Mask of the Phantasm.
Good choice. Smart choice.
Wow, what a great character! Another great reveal.
We got two villains. Well, we have multiple of those now. Villains from the same movie.
Correct.
Yeah.
We do.
We have Catwoman, Riddler, and now Joker and Phantasm.
Yep. So yeah, this character was created for this film.
Yeah.
Did not exist in the comics.
It's true.
Before this, so it's really cool to see filmmakers creating new characters. I like that.
Yeah.
Not just, well, we have to take something from the comics because there's so many in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want a Kite Man movie. I mean, we don't. We don't care about him. But Phantasm.
Yeah.
This character is great. This is another one where, spoiler alert, it ends up being his love interest.
Yeah.
And, kind of similar to Catwoman, but at the same time very different.
Yeah.
In some ways, she's more similar to
Riddler from the Batman.
Yes, I was about to say.
Yeah.
She's on this mission of vengeance.
Mm-hmm.
And, Batman asks her at one point in the movie, she basically tells him that she's going out for revenge. And he says, "What will vengeance solve?"
Yeah.
And she says, "You should know."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what you're doing every night.
The only one here controlled by his parents is you, Bruce.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really good. It plays into again
it's just so great.
It is. It's really good. Kevin Conroy, Dana Delaney voices her.
Dana Delaney,
who of course went on to voice Lois Lane in the Superman animated series.
Their performances in that movie.
Yeah,
I think that the reason I don't usually think of Phantasm as a villain is because she's my favorite Batman love interest.
Right.
And it's like, she is. Yeah. She is kind of the villain of that movie. She is really. 100%. It's the Mask of the Phantasm.
Yes.
But their relationship, Bruce realizing that this is his one chance to have a normal life, and that this is what became of her.
This is what became of it. This is what Batman has done.
It's why that version of the character from all the way up until Justice League.
Oh yeah.
And into Batman Beyond will always be Batman. That was his one 100%. Chance to get out of it.
That was it.
He's like, I didn't count on being happy. This is my one chance to do it. Yeah. And it's a tragedy of such operatic scale.
Story. Yes, 100%. And so she's a great character. She's got, of course, a great costume. Mm-hmm. Very memorable, that mask, that poster. I love that poster with him, and it's her, just the mask.
The hook hand is great, too.
Yeah, the hook hand is really good and everything. So, great looking character. Mm-hmm. She's now come over into the comics.
Yeah.
Like Harley Quinn from the animated series. And so... yeah, she's one that I always think of when I think of great Batman villains. Mm-hmm. She always is in my head because what a great story they told with those two characters. Like you said, the love story, but then also this force of vengeance that Batman has to confront outwardly and inwardly.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
That's
brilliant.
Super good pick. That's your number 4?
That's my number 4. I've only got one left.
I've only got one left.
You've got one left.
And I have one left. This is my last
number
one.
5, top 5 Batman movie villains.
Yeah.
Who are you going to go with your last pick? This is a tough one. I'm debating 2 right now.
This is very difficult. It's down to 2 for me as well. And I think I'm going to have to go with a Nolan villain.
Oh.
I know this is a shock. I know this is a shock, people.
He's picking the Dark Knight trilogy. First time ever.
It's my favorite Nolan Dark Knight movie. Batman Begins.
Okay.
That movie has 2 villains.
2 great villains. I mean, there's 3, actually.
Yeah. I'm going to have to go
Because wait, let's talk about him real quick.
Okay.
Because these are 3 really good villains.
Sure.
Carmine Falcone, a lot of people don't think of. Tom Wilkinson's performance is phenomenal. Carmine Falcone.
Yep.
Then you have Ra's al Ghul.
That's right. It's very Rachel Gould.
Liam Neeson. I mean, Liam
Yeah, of
Neeson. You
course.
can't beat Liam Neeson.
No one cares except for Neeson.
And
then,
of course,
my pick is Scarecrow.
Cillian Murphy as Scarecrow.
Cillian Murphy as Scarecrow, yeah.
What a performance.
Yeah, Cillian Murphy's great.
He's always great.
I only wish Scarecrow had more to do in this movie. He's kind of just being used by Ra's as kind of like the tool.
Yeah.
But I think he brings a lot to what little he has to do in that movie.
Yeah.
And in the same way, I think kind of Two-Face does that as well in Dark Knight. I mean, Two-Face has a much more involved role in Dark Knight, but yeah, Scarecrow, the whole movie revolves around fear. And him acting as this kind of masked figure that's going to be the foil to Batman and kind of embody what Ra's is trying to teach Batman to do. He's trying to teach Bruce to use Batman as a symbol of fear. And that's exactly what Scarecrow's doing. To use this, toxin to scare everyone into submission. And yeah, it's terrific. There's some of my favorite visuals
on the horse.
From Scarecrow.
On the horse.
Yeah.
Love the moment on the horse. Horse breathing fire. I mean, that's such a cool image.
It is. It's very cool. Yeah. And he has little cameos throughout the whole trilogy that are great.
Oh, yeah.
He comes back a few times. He becomes, like the judge of the Gotham City. Which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to have to give it up to Scarecrow. I think Scarecrow, just in general, is a great character.
Yeah.
I think that he, especially in Long Halloween, has a lot to do there, and he's very cool. But yeah, I'm giving it to Scarecrow.
Great pick, great character, great design, simple design. They just give him the helmet, the mask,
the burlap mask. Yeah,
that's all you really need.
It's a classic Nolan costume. Minimal effort.
Keep minimal effort. Right.
Yeah.
One where he maybe went maximum effort is what I'm going to go with. My fifth pick. It's another Nolan pick. It's Bane. From The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
I just rewatched this.
Okay.
I was curious. I wanted to watch one of these, and I was like, I think the third one's the one I've seen the least. So let me pop it in.
I hope you turned subtitles on.
I did not. I did not. I didn't care.
Yeah.
This is a great character. I really like this take on Bane.
I agree.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about a lot of the Nolan choices that he goes with. They're very kind of outside the box. I mean, Scarecrow is pretty much exactly Scarecrow from the comics.
Sure.
But his Joker's pretty unique. I guess his Two-Face is pretty similar. But his Bane, by far, is the biggest departure from the comics.
Right. Especially at that point.
He's not a luchador. He's not pumping venom, to get buffed up. It's just Tom Hardy in this weird mask. It's a weird mask.
Yeah. I don't know what even it's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be some life-saving device. I don't know how and what way, but man, what a choice. What a choice to go with that look and then for Hardy to do this voice, which has been made fun of.
Hearing him talk about developing that accent was really cool.
Really cool.
Talking about where is he from regionally? Yeah. And kind of
it's a South American
who raised him.
Yeah.
He was raised in this pit.
Yeah.
So he probably doesn't speak English very well.
Yeah.
I
remember really right, it was some kind of South American martial artist or something that he based it on or something. But man, just so engaging. That character. When he's on screen, you can't look away.
Right.
You just cannot look away. And what I love about what they did with Bane in this movie is Bruce, at this point, has lost his way completely. He's given up on everything. Batman, life. I mean, he doesn't go anywhere. There's all these rumors about him. He's peeing into mason jars and growing his fingernails out.
Yeah.
Like Howard Hughes, And so he's just given up. And Bane comes in and totally wrecks shop. He immediately starts just annihilating Gotham from inside.
Yeah.
And he has such conviction about what he's doing. Bane so believes in the League of Shadows.
Of course.
And their mission.
Yeah.
And, Ra's al Ghul and what he was meant to do. And he will stop at nothing to accomplish his mission.
Yeah.
And
he is the ultimate culmination of the trilogy, really.
Correct.
Of all the lessons the villains kind of wanted Batman to be, is exactly what Bane became.
Yes. So Batman has resigned himself to just giving up.
That's kind of interesting because I just had this thought.
Go.
It's kind of interesting because typically you have the villains teach Batman something. So,
right.
Okay, this villain taught me that I have to do this.
Right.
Riddler taught me that I have to be more than just a symbol of vengeance.
Correct.
Whereas, like, in the Dark Knight trilogy, it's almost the opposite. Like, the villains are trying to convince Batman to be something that he's not.
Right.
And he has to just be the same. He has to be what he already is.
Right.
So there's, like, no real growth for Batman, exactly.
Sure.
He's always that. But everyone's trying to pull him in different directions and change him.
Right.
And kind of the story there is that he should be faithful.
Right.
So it's a really interesting, weird way of doing.
It is. It is interesting.
Yeah.
The villain, it's almost like, it is almost like the villains have more of the story.
Sure.
Whereas Batman, or the arc, I guess, than Batman.
Mm-hmm.
But here, like I said, Batman is at a different place in that he's not Batman anymore. He's kind of just said, it's over.
Yeah.
And Bane comes in with such conviction that Batman, when he confronts him, he doesn't stand a chance.
Right.
He can't even hold his own against Bane.
Yeah.
Bane breaks him. Mm-hmm. The man who broke the bat.
Right.
It's
a great poster.
And
the shattered Batman.
It is. It's great. And he throws him in the pit, and Batman has to become like Bane.
That's right.
Batman has to get the strength and the willpower to climb out of this pit, literal pit,
much like
and metaphorical pit,
much like Andy Dwyer from Parks and Recreation. He has to climb out of the pit.
That's right. That's right. And he does, and they have this final confrontation, and it's great. It's a great final battle they have, and Batman saves the city.
Yeah, that's a terrific pick.
But Bane does a great job in that creating that arc for the character, I think. And so. Got to give it up for Bane, Tom Hardy.
Yeah, I think we had some good ones here.
It's some really interesting.
I think this is a solid top 10. Obviously, we didn't talk a ton about all of the other Jokers that have been.
Of course.
Jack Nicholson's Joker. If not for Mark Hamill's pick, this would have been my number one.
Sure.
So, there's just a ton of other variants of these characters that are really interesting and different.
Right.
But that's our top fives individually.
Top 5 Batman movie villains. Let us know your list in the comments down below. We want to know who your favorite Batman movie villains are. So definitely leave a comment down below. Again, leave your review of Joker, Folie, Deux. We want to know what you think about that movie. We're both on Letterboxd, so you can follow us there. Those links are in the description below. We're on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Follow us at The Real World. Thank you again so much for joining us here on this episode of the Real World Podcast. We will see you next time. Make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified of all our videos, and we'll see you next time right here on The Real World.